You're listening to the Full Court Press podcast, hosted by Drew Duncan. Don't you dare touch that dial.
If I ever said I'm never scared, just know I mean it. And if I ever said I'm getting money, just know I mean it. No, I mean it. Just know I mean it. Yeah, just know I mean it. Yeah, just know I mean it. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to 1410 93.9 KGSO Radio right here in Wichita, Kansas, Wichita's original sports station. You're listening to The Game Plan, hosted by Brad Streeter, Scott Stiles. They've taken a little bit of time to allow myself, Andrew Duncan, in the format here. And I have with us a guy who needs literally no introduction around these parts, known as the Caveman, born Dave Rickels. Dave, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with me once again, bro.
I am the born-again caveman.
The born-again caveman?
Yeah.
Not formerly known as.
No, I did a rebirth when I was about 18 and started fighting people in a cage. I was reborn from the ashes as caveman.
Man, it's been a while, dude. Obviously after I retired, I didn't know what was going to happen. And now here I am, and you're my first interview back, dude.
Dude, that's a pretty dang cool thing, man, honestly.
Yeah.
It's always good talking to you, and I love that you actually follow mixed martial arts a little bit.
Little bit.
So it's fun. We can always engage and shoot the stuff back and forth.
Speaking of following mixed martial arts, dude, Dave, I got to know, man. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the video on Facebook that surfaced of this school teacher who was a lady school teacher, was about to get into a fight in the octagon. She literally looked to be no training staff or coach with her. She did it all on her own. She had it handed to her, as we all saw. Are you afraid that the sport that you have helped build and pioneer, particularly in Kansas, is going to a fad stage where everybody just thinks that they can jump into a ring and start fighting?
There's definitely going to be the peak of that at some point. I don't know if we're there, if we were there, or where it's going on that. But there are definitely people who want to fight, but then once they do fight, they realize that it's not the game they thought it was. You know what I mean? Like, this is not it's not a joke, Like, to get in there and get your head smashed in is really, especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Okay? Like, if you know how to defend yourself, intelligently defend yourself. That's one of the things the referees always say. If you're doing that, you're going to get minimal damage. Dude, but if you go out there and you have no idea how to block a punch, like, you're just taking blows straight to the dome over and over.
Yeah, she didn't know how to block a punch, bro.
Yeah, so, and then, protecting your arms, and you can get your arms broke, your knees blown out. All sorts of bad things can happen.
Well, the way that I view it, man, is I'm starting to get to this point where I look at it and having a good body and being in shape. I'm glad that we're doing these things in our society and we're focusing more on nutrition. But I think that there's a lot of people that are partly getting into MMA because of first of all, there's the I'm a badass now aspect. And then, of course, B, the cosmetic features that come along with somebody who's in a gym every day. Do you think that maybe also be something that's playing into it as well?
Yeah, there's definitely people that do it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Like, I've been around those people who they want easy fights. Like, they want to go, they just want to go in and they want to smash somebody and they want to look cool for their friends and their family and their Instagram and their Facebook page and all that stuff, But a lot of us don't fight for that reason. You don't make it as high as I am. That's for damn sure.
Right.
If you're just fighting for the looks of it, you know what I mean, the glory. But it's a funny game, man. But hey, if there's any teachers out there around here that want to jump in the EFC cage, I need some bodies, son. I need some bodies. We need some good knockout footage. So I'm just saying, if there's anybody, any turd balls out there that want to jump in, let me know.
Maybe I should go ahead and step in.
Andrew
bro.
Duncan.
They'll make quick work of me. I promise you, bro. Quick
What
work.
would your nickname be?
I don't know. I don't know.
I have no idea why this came to my head, but Andrew the Pumpkin
Duncan.
That's like the worst nickname ever.
Speaking of guys that definitely don't fight for glory, Chris Harris, man, one of the toughest guys I think right now in Wichita.
Fighting for food.
Oh,
that kid
man.
fights for food.
For real. I mean, that's a real deal. How do you feel about his title match going into this deal? Do you think it's going to be the fight that everybody wants a title fight to be, or do you think it's a situation where these two guys, one of them could easily produce a knockout in the first round?
I mean, Chris Harris is definitely one of those people who can, if he touches you with his hands the right way, I mean, you're falling asleep.
Game over.
I mean, like, he's got some power. He's got some pop. You just don't want to stand in front of Chris. In his last fight that he lost, unfortunately, for Bellator, the guy danced around him. He did all these. I think he sprinkled some fairy dust in his eyes. I'm not sure what happened, but you can't stand still in front of Chris Harris. And hopefully Kyle Kurtz has put together a good game plan. Kyle Kurtz is a Bellator veteran as well, man, and he's fought nothing but the hardest competition, man. That dude, from his first fight all the way up, he's 7-4. He's had nothing but tough fights, man, and that's why I signed him up, man, because I've fought on the same Bellator cards as him. So the kid's super tough. Chris is super tough, and I think it's going to really make for an exciting bout.
Speaking of Bellator guys, obviously Joe the Nose Wilk is going to be on deck for the main event coming up this Saturday, EFC number 5. What is it that makes a guy like Joe the Nose as special as he is?
19 wins. 15 of them in the first round. That's why Joe Wilk is fun to watch, bro. Well, he taught me everything I need to know about, the walkout and the entertainment factor of creating a character as you go out. The almost the wrestling WWE type of stuff. But that's, dude, people love it. It's fun, man. That is super fun. And Joe was the originator in the city for doing that kind of thing.
One of the things that I remember about Joe is one of the Chris Harris fights, dude was going absolutely ham out there. I mean, the passion, when I hear that guy and when I see that guy, to me, I think to myself, Joe Wilk is one of those dudes that was probably born to be a fighter. Would you agree with that, man?
Yeah, he has a crazy knack for it, man. He's like, he's probably laughing that we're even talking about this, but like, Joe Wilk was honestly the opposite of that, though, which is kind of funny. He makes it look so easy now. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, man, like, he must have a knack for jiu-jitsu and being, fighting in general, like just being aggressive and whatnot. And I think he's probably always been aggressive. But Joe Wilk will tell you himself, man, he got beat up for probably 5 or 6 years of training before he ever got good,
But you got to pay your dues, though. I mean, that's the way that it is. Again, going back to what we talked about earlier, you can't just jump in there and expect to be able to hang with the big dogs right away.
Yeah, and that is a huge misconception. I don't know how many people message me. I get at least 10 to 15 messages a year that like, hey, man, I want to be a UFC fighter. Bellator fighter, whatever they say. And they're like, how long will that take?
How long do you have, bud? The way that I look at it is, and I think this is probably what I want to close with, anything that you do, it doesn't matter, especially when you're an athlete, the amount of time and preparation that you put into a film room, that you put into a gym, the being there at 4 o'clock in the morning and staying there till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just in time to go back, get yourself something to eat, and come back again later that evening. Do you feel disrespected when people think, hey, man, I could just do this and no big deal?
I do get that feeling sometimes, man, but like, I can't control what people say. I can't control their perception of what it looks like. You know what I mean? So it doesn't bother me at all, man. I just contradicted myself. It does bother me sometimes. It does sometimes, but like, I try to let it roll off, man, because they don't understand. They don't know. They think, oh, I just have this natural gift and I go in there and I can fight like I fight. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not like that. It took so much time and training. Like, I'm still learning every single day, man. So, but let's jump back real quick. If we got a little bit of, we got a minute here. We
got a minute. Yeah, go for it.
Just the Joe Wilk versus Marcio Navarro is one of the most, I love this main event so much because Marcio Navarro is another epic name in the city, man.
Right.
He's been around forever. He came up in the kickboxing world, though, and this dude is like 30-1 in kickboxing.
Oh my goodness!
I can't remember exactly what it is, but he's like 30-1. He's one of the best kickboxers. He's had multiple titles in kickboxing. So we have this black belt in jiu-jitsu, which is Joe Wilk, and then we have this elite kickboxer in Marcio Navarro. So it's just a very interesting grappling versus striking matchup.
And, you know, the great thing about those is it could either end in an arm bar or it can end with somebody unconscious on the ground for 3 minutes trying to figure out where they're at.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is a fight that ends with a spectacular finish. I can promise you that. And I don't know which side it's going to be on. Like, that's the great part.
Well, and it's got to be a thing for you because you put this together and you know everybody, so it's hard for you to not, one way or the other.
Right,
you know.
You know, I've always... That's what I do is I watch these fights in my head and I go, oh, yes. Okay, this will be good. This will be good. You know, because I play it out. I see, okay, Marcio ends it with a head kick in the third round, or Joe Wilk ends it with an armbar in the first round. You know what I mean? After pummeling him for a while. You know, it's just there's so many different outcomes that are possible.
Right.
But I just see this to be a very exciting fight.
But to do what you do to put these fights together, that's got to be a big part of it, obviously, is being able to visualize before it happens, and that's what makes a great matchmaker. So there you go.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're very welcome. David, man, really appreciate you taking time once again to come by and hang out with us and give us a couple minutes of your day, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I'm happy to come out here. I'm always happy to come out here.
Saturday, when is the fight and where?
Saturday, May 13th at the Kansas Star Casino. You will see the greatest in mixed martial arts action.
We're going to work on that, David.
No, that was good. Shut up. Put that on repeat.
All right, everybody. You just heard David Rickels. I'm Andrew Duncan on 1410 AM, 93.9 FM, KGSO Sports Radio right here in Wichita, Kansas. We're going to be right back with Brad Streeter and Scott Stiles. Don't you dare touch that dial.
You've been listening to the official Full Court Press podcast, hosted by myself, Drew Duncan. Don't forget, you can always find me on Twitter. That's at DrewDuncan83. Of course, the official Full Court Press podcast is on Facebook. You can also reach me there at DrewDuncan83 as well. For all you Instagrammers, I am on there at DrewDuncan83. Thank you so much for tuning in.